Hello everybody and welcome to this SAP Finug webinar together with NTT Data Business Solutions. And my name is Aleksi Rustholkarhu, Executive Director from SAP Finug, and from NTT Data we have Thomas Nørmark, today's experts on the very interesting AI topic that we have today. Hope you're all having a lovely Tuesday morning. And before we jump in to today's agenda, I will briefly go through with the practicalities of the webinar, and let's also have a quick look on the Finug upcoming event calendar. For this webinar, you participants are muted. There's a lot of you, so let's not open the microphones, but please use the Q&A feature that you will find on Zoom and put your comments and questions in there, and we will make sure that we have a bit time at the end of the webinar to go through with your questions and comments. And like always, you will have the recording and the presentation materials in PDF form after the webinar. So I think that was the main practicalities. Please be active and ask and comment at any point of the webinar. Let me switch my slide here so you can see the current upcoming Finug event calendar. There's a lot more to come, and these are now opened in our webpage sapfinug.fi/tapahtumat, and also you can find these by following our newsletters. And if you are wondering about the color coding, what are the orange and blue ones, the orange means that it's only for our user members, so our full members, and the others are open for all members, also for the implementing partner members. Very much hoping to see you in our upcoming webinars, and especially for this biggest spring seminar that we have, or spring event, the technology seminar, previously known as RACE 2027, on the 7th of May. Please check it out. There will be a very interesting line of speakers, and already keynotes have been published. But today we are here to see AI in action, and for this we have Thomas Nørmark on the line from NTT Data. And at this point I will give the virtual stage to Thomas and stop my sharing like this. And please Thomas, let the AI take over.
Okay. Let's see how much AI there will be in my presentation. I hope a lot, but thank you very much, Aleksi, and thank you for joining, everyone. I'm looking forward to this next small hour, where I will be presenting, first of all, a little bit of background when it comes to AI and the current situation, but I will also dive into a number of very concrete AI use cases that are live with our partners and customers today. Yeah, buckle up and let's go. So my name is Thomas Nørmark. I'm a global head of innovation and AI and robotics in NTT Data, and I've been working in the SAP ecosystem for all my professional life, I would say. Already started as an SAP basis consultant during my studies, and transitioned into ABAP development, integrations with XI, PIPO, and later enterprise architecture. And for the past, I would say, 12-13 years, I've been focusing primarily on innovation and innovative technologies. We know them as exponential technologies, disruptive technologies, emergent technologies, but for me it's more that you can do different things with new technologies, and that is what really interests me, and you'll see that during the presentation. When we think about technology, especially AI, then we have a tendency to overestimate the impact of technology on the short term, but then we also have a tendency to, underestimate the power of technology on the long term. And as you can see here on this curve, ever since I started working with AI, it was not really good. It was performing very bad, actually. Something between, the intelligence of an ant and a bird. That's when I started. But what we can see today, and what we normally see with exponential technology, is that we have actually progressed a lot. And right now we are very close to Einstein level when it comes to AI. And a lot of people have not realized that we are here now. And this is why something comes as a surprise when we hear about things in the news or see new progressions with AI and so on. We can think about it like the Wright brothers when they invented the plane and late 1800s. The birds, they were really laughing because they were really not good at flying, right? And they were not supposed to fly at all. Human beings had 2 legs, and that's how we move forward. 60 years later, this is the situation. We landed on the moon, and now the birds are still sitting in their nests in the trees, but no more laughing. We have seen it over and over in history that when we create a basic infrastructure, we can scale the technology to the extreme. My favorite example is buildings. So this building here is almost 1 kilometer high, and the price is $1.4 billion. And if you have more dollars, you can actually build a taller building. So it's a matter of pushing money into the system, and then you can scale the technology to the extreme. And at some point, we will all be able to take the elevator to the moon. The reason for me saying this is that this is the exact situation we are in right now when it comes to AI. We have all the basic ingredients or the basic infrastructure in place to scale this to the extreme. The basic ingredients are data, it's compute power, and then it's a breakthrough in algorithm research called transformers. The transformer word maybe from GPT, so generative pre-trained transformers. And that is a breakthrough in machine learning architecture that has changed the situation when it comes to what we know today as large language models and GPTs and so on. I myself also underestimated the impact of technology on the long term. For a long time, we were talking about self-driving cars, and then it never came, right? It was not possible, and we forgot about it. Last year, when I visited one of my friends in Los Angeles, he ordered an Uber so I could go back to my hotel, or at least I thought he did. But when I entered the car, this was actually my experience. So I spent 20 minutes driving through Los Angeles downtown. And the first couple of minutes was quite terrifying, but I felt very comfortable after a few minutes. This self-driving car was really, performing better than many of the taxi drivers in Los Angeles. So all of a sudden, I found myself in a self-driving car, driving through the city center of one of the biggest American cities. And a few weeks later, Visa, they announced that they now have created a credit card, not for human beings, but for AI agents. So they can work on our behalf. They can buy, flight tickets. They can negotiate. They can order groceries on our behalf. So this is a new world that we are experiencing right now. Another way of illustrating that is AI generating pictures or movies. This is a picture that I generated some years ago, and you can see this is not, a real human being and a robot. It's very cartoonish, but I like the picture because, the look of that boy is very interesting for me. I think behind his eyes there's a lot of things going on. He's probably thinking what is going on behind the eyes of that robot. It illustrates for me this mix of fear and fascination that we as human beings have for AI in particular. Later I managed to generate this picture. As you can see, the AI now performs much better. I would say the only way you can know that this is not a real picture is that hopefully it would not be possible to take this picture in real life. But this is very what you would call hyper-realistic. The babies have 5 fingers and all the things that was a little bit of a challenge for the AI is now not a challenge anymore. And this is what we see because we are progressing towards Einstein level. So basically today we cannot tell whether something is real or not. We have to use our common sense, and that it will be a challenge. This is a latest picture that I saw in Denmark where Red Cross was having a campaign where they were collecting money for Ukraine. And they basically set fire to the Danish opera. I have seen the opera and it's still there. So this is AI generated. But again, we have a new reality also when it comes to news and media that we have to understand. So with that introduction, I would now like to talk a little bit about SAP and AI and go into some concrete projects in a few minutes. First of all, NTT Data, just to present my company or my employer. NTT Data is a Japanese-owned IT company, one of the biggest in the world. I think we are valued as the number 5 when it comes to the biggest IT companies globally. We are around 200,000 employees, and as you can see, we are more than 10,000 data and AI practitioners. And we are spending $3.6 billion in innovations and R&D every year. And that means that we have a lot of innovative projects, assets, products, and we are operating all over the world. When it comes to AI, something that is very important and something that AI struggles with also today is what we call context. So some months ago, I was in Helsinki to speak at a conference, and the day before the conference, I just wanted to generate a picture with AI, saying something about Finland and AI. And so I told the AI to generate a Finnish flag, saying something about AI is important. And this is the result. So this is my Finnish flag. And of course, this is the flag that you normally would use when, a race car enters the finish line. But this was really not the context that I was looking for. I was, of course, looking for this Finnish flag. So again, if we don't help the AI with context, then we can have hallucinations, misunderstandings, bad outputs. And this is really where SAP comes into play, right? AI value comes from 3 things: insight, context, and action. So insight is the data. It's really understanding, the surroundings of the processes, and the companies, etc. Context is what we have also in our metadata, our master data, knowing the situation. And action is when we, execute concrete workflows, create purchase orders, sales orders, production orders, invoices, and so on. And these three things are very well described in SAP. This is something that SAP has spent many years and a lot of money actually putting into structure. And that is a good thing when we want to work with AI in context with of our business processes. AI can help us with a lot of things: faster decision making, automation, better forecasting, scalability, efficiency, and so on. So these are some of the benefits, business benefits that I think we've been working with for years when we talk about ERP and enterprise IT. But there is a difference now. Instead of small incremental improvements, we can take these extreme jumps or transformations when it comes to these things. And this is what we see now. Be aware that when you work with AI in an enterprise context, there is not only one AI. This is a Gartner slide. They call it the AI sandwich. And basically, Gartner is defining three types of AI. So the top one, the green layer, is what we call embedded AI. So AI that is built into the application. AI that is more or less invisible. You just have it as a feature or function in your Teams or whatever application you're using. You normally don't have to do anything. You don't have to develop anything. It's just built in out of the box. Then we have bring your own AI. That is if you have some preferred, could be third-party AI functionality that you want to bring into your mix of AI in the company. So maybe an example could be a popular startup called Jasper that has specialized in doing marketing content creation using AI. So you bring in that application or vendor into your enterprise landscape, and then you have brought your own AI into the mix. And the last one, the green layer, is built AI, and this is where you develop, you train, you create your own AI models, own AI pipelines, and so on. It's important to understand that these three types of AI, they are present in most enterprises. The mix is, not the same. As some companies have a clear strategy of using embedded AI for most of their AI capabilities. Other companies want to, build their own custom AIs to be more competitive and have the AI tailored to specific processes and features of the company. When we dive into what SAP called SAP Business AI, it's very much about the top layer that I talked about, so embedded AI. And so, as you probably know, SAP has created a lot of these embedded AI services, out-of-the-box AI services that comes with your S4 system. So if you go into an S4 in either a public cloud or private cloud, RISE, GROW, you will get these embedded AI services and agents more or less out of the box. With some of them, you have to do some configuration or some pre-training with your own data to fine-tune the models, but more or less the AI features are embedded into to the applications. And that brings AI to companies in a completely different way, because instead of using weeks, months to build your own models and maintain your own models and pipelines, you can more or less just activate these services, and then you are what you could call an AI-driven or at least AI-supported enterprise. There's a lot of these AI agents and features. A lot of you who are at least on the S4 journey will have access to these features and agents. Many companies also have what is called AI units, meaning that in the contract you have bundled a number of AI units that you can actually spend activating these features here. If you don't spend your AI units, they are lost. So look into this and see if there are some of these services that could bring benefit to your company or employer. I will just take one concrete example that we are building now with a company, and it's an example that I guess many companies can relate to. So it's about handling auto response documents in SAP. So the use case is that if you as a company purchase something from a vendor, then you will probably create a purchase requisition that will be approved and go out as a purchase order. And then when you send that purchase order to the supplier, they will send back an order response, probably confirming that they have received your order and that they are now processing the order, and you will get this and that. These order response documents, they come in many forms. They could be very structured PDF documents. It could be, handwritten note that someone has taken a picture and attached to an email reply. It could be unstructured data in an email confirming the order. So basically you have no idea of what kind of format and what kind of data you will receive in an order response. And this is something that AI agents are actually very good at handling. So what we have done is that we have built an AI agentic flow that handles or fully automates this order response process. So first comes an email with an order response. Then we have what we call an email qualifying agent. This agent will look at the email and qualify, or you could say classify, whether this is an order response or if it's something else. And if it's an order response, the AI agent will pass this email to the next agent, which is an order response extraction agent. So this agent can, lift the data from the email or the document and extract it and put it into a more structured format. Then it's passed on to an evaluation agent. So this AI agent will evaluate whether all the information needed is actually present. Because if it's not, then you need to have a human in the loop flow, where a real human being will actually try to understand what is missing or send this back to ask for more information. But this is the happy path. So if everything is okay, it's passed on to an order response matching agent. This agent will match the order response to a purchase order in SAP. And if there is a match, it will pass it on to this automated workflow that will take action and put the order response into the backend system. This is actually something that we could build in a matter of 7 days. We have tried this some years ago. I guess after 7 months, we have to give up because the AI was not good enough to handle all these steps here. But in a matter of 7 days, we could actually build this pipeline or process using multi-agent concepts, where we have these AI agents that collaborate as just like a business team, and together they find out what is the best next action and what is the best way to go forward in order to meet the challenge of putting auto response into a backend system. What we have used is basic standard BTP architecture, as you can see here. So all the tools and capabilities that we have used are actually present in SAP BTP. So this is something that you can do more or less out of the box with current SAP technology. So instead of not only using these embedded AI services, you can also build your own AI services like we have done here, and use some of these standard frameworks or tools that are in the SAP toolbox. Something that is also very interesting coming from SAP is the fact that they have made agreements with more than 20,000 customers that are running in the SAP data centers to use this customer data in an anonymized format, but again, use this high quality enterprise data from 20,000 customers to train their own, what you could call SAP LLM. SAP call it RPT1 or Rapid1, and this AI model has been trained on huge corpus of data coming from real enterprises, meaning that it is very different from, for instance, ChatGPT. So OpenAI, they trained ChatGPT by basically downloading the entire internet using very bad data, very good data, but all the data they could get to train their model. And that is a multi-purpose model that can tell you how to bake a chocolate cake or create a poem, but it's not really good at doing things that has something to do with enterprise processes and so on. And this is where SAP, they have now released this model that is very interesting. The model works on tabular data or structured data and understands the connections between data entities, tables, and so on in SAP. So take a look at this. This is, I would say, some kind of revolution when it comes to enterprise IT. So going on, talking about enterprise IT and enterprise AI, so how do you get started, right? We have seen in 1 or 2 years that a lot of companies have, been experimenting, I would say, with AI. Normally what you do is that you find a use case that someone like, and then you create a POC, and then you end up at the POC graveyard 6 or 12 months later. And the problem is that many companies, actually there are some research in this field saying that 95% of all AI use cases have not fulfilled its business case over the past years. And the problem is that if you imagine that you're going to play a soccer game, and then someone tells you before you enter the field that there are actually 12 landmines hidden on the soccer field. So what do? You just enter the field, start playing the game, and cross your fingers and hope that you will not step on a landmine? Or would it be better to actually search the field for the landmines so you can avoid them before you start playing? And this is the analogy that I would like to create, because many companies, they just enter the field and start playing without knowing what kind of landmines that they are actually facing. And then at some point they step on a landmine and they end up at the POC graveyard. Our advice would be to start, making a plan and start, to identify your landmines before you start playing. And this is what we call our AI advisory services. It's not a big thing. It can be done in a matter of days. But basically what we propose with our AI advisory services is 2 sections. One section is called an AI maturity assessment. This is where you identify your landmines, and then it's followed by what we call an AI scan. And this is where you scan your company for high impact or high potential AI use cases. And what we do is that we collect a lot of data. You know, we go through some workshops, questionnaires, interviews, and then we look at, you know, the industry standards, industry benchmarks, and then we actually create this kind of maturity score, and we put it against the industry benchmarks, so the customer can see how they are performing in their market or compared to the competitors. This is a concrete example that we have done from a global HR department. This is the concrete output that they have gotten. They get like a extensive white paper, a report, but they also get these executive slides where they can communicate the current state of the AI maturity in the company. And as you can see here, we have highlighted you know, some areas, right? So a good thing with this company is the cultural readiness. So all the employees, more or less, they are ready to jump on the AI wagon, right? They are eager to get AI tools and to work with AI and to be more productive and efficient and perform with higher quality and do less work maybe. So there's nothing wrong with the people readiness, which is kind of rare, I would say. Many times when we create IT transformation projects, the users are actually a little bit reluctant, right? They would rather have the tools that they had yesterday. They don't want to spend too much energy learning new how to operate with new tools, but that's different with AI. You can also see some red landmines over here. So this particular company has very low maturity when it comes to data infrastructure. So that is a landmine in their AI landscape. And if they want to avoid stepping on that landmine, they should probably prioritize projects that does not require, very modern advanced data infrastructure, because then they will step on this mine. So this gives you an idea of the field that you're playing on, and then you can take qualified decisions about what kind of use cases that you want to pursue, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and your bottlenecks. And everything ends up in this kind of roadmap. So this is a proposed AI roadmap. It's a mix of removing landmines and implementing AI, high impact AI projects or use cases. So with one hand, you increase your AI maturity, and with the other hand, you start actually redeeming or collecting value from high impact AI use cases. And this is what we call the recipe to a successful AI acceleration journey. And as said, it can take only around 5-10 days, and then you can get this complete overview, and then you can actually start your AI journey in a professional way, and not just by crossing your fingers and hoping that everything will be good at the end. We have helped a lot of companies implementing AI projects with this methodology. These are some of the examples from the past year. I can show you a few examples here. I start very, very simple, low key, with some projects that have been implemented in a few days. This is an example. It's a Norwegian slaughterhouse. And they have, at that point, they had a big problem. We did a huge SAP implementation for them, but we also helped them with some innovations in other areas of the business. The one problem that they had is that you can see these blue pallets and white plastic boxes. they did not know how many of those were actually in stock in the warehouses and production sites. They knew they could not run out, because then they could not move things in and out of the warehouse, but they had no idea how many they had. So what we did was a very simple AI trick. We trained an AI to only do two things. So a very, dumb AI, you could say. It could only do two things, and that was to recognize blue pallets and recognize white plastic boxes. And the way you do that is that you provide examples to the model, and then it, using the examples, train an algorithm that helps the AI actually recognizing these things. So this is basically the use case: a camera in the gate, and then an AI counting all this, plastic boxes and pallets going in and out, and putting that data into the backend system, so you could have like a consolidated overview of all the warehouses and production stuff. So kind of an invisible AI, not very sexy, but brings a lot of value and a great return of investment. Later on, they wanted to work with worker safety. So instead of recognizing blue pallets and plastic boxes, they want to recognize, safety equipment. So only if you have the proper safety equipment, or you're wearing that, you can access dangerous machines or dangerous areas in the buildings. So also very simple use case that could solve an important problem. Later on, again, they wanted to, look into parts of their, the heart of the business. So in the stables, right? This is a skeleton detection model of pigs that we trained. And with that model, you can actually measure the length and the width of the pig. And in that way, you can actually, predict the volume or the growth of the pig. You put it into a growth curve, and then you can predict the best day of slaughter. So you could say, okay, in 12 days, this particular pig will be ready for slaughter. And I can start, planning my transportation and everything that has to be ready in the slaughterhouse. And also, now that you know the volume of the pigs, you can actually have more pigs in the truck, because there are some limitations to that. And if you don't know the weight or the volume, then many times you put less pigs into the truck just to be safe. What we also did was animal welfare use case. So we already had the cameras and microphones in the stables filming the pigs. So why not look at more innovative use cases? And one use case, also quite simple algorithm. It says that if one pig's nose is close to another pig's tail, and the microphone picks up, a big sound, then there is a high probability of a tail bite. And then you can, look at the particular timestamp of that event, and you can see if it's actually a tail bite or not. And if it's a tail bite, you remove the bandit, the aggressor pig, and then the remaining pig calms down, and that results in better meat quality. So highly stressed pigs that does not or do not produce good meat. So again, something that started very simple with some blue pallets and some plastic boxes actually ended up in quite advanced use cases, bringing a lot of value to this company. Another use case is what we call AI spare part identification. So this is a project that we have done with a very famous toy manufacturer close to a Danish airport here in Jutland. Basically, the business challenge was that they have a lot of spare parts in their production. So if something breaks down, it could be like a small switch or a bolt or whatever. then they have to identify the spare part and replace it so they can, operate the machine again. Problem is that they have hundreds of thousands of spare parts. So it can take hours to identify the proper spare part and either order it or find out where it is so you can go and get it. So what we have done is that we have taken the most important spare parts, and then we have trained some models, identification models, that we can use for what we call RAG or similarity search. Many of the spare parts in SAP has a picture connected to it, and some of them do not have. So either we do like a picture search or a picture match, meaning that you have this telephone, you take a picture of the broken spare part, and then it will try to find, the spare part that matches that picture in the SAP on the material master. And it will also generate a description of the picture, so you can, search for similar descriptions of spare parts in your backend system. And this has actually reduced the time spent, the average time spent of identifying spare parts from hours to minutes, meaning that the business case is of course substantial in this case. Another AI project that we've done, one of the first AI projects in the Nordics, we've been told it's actually now, I think it's 6-7 years ago. We did a big AI project with an NGO here in Denmark called Children's Welfare of Børns Vilkår. And it's a helpline where children with problems can call these counselors, and then they can get help from the counselors because they cannot talk to their own parents or family members. The problem with this, when we started this collaboration, so it's kind of a pro bono project for us, but the problem was extensive, right? So they lost more than 130,000 inquiries from children every year. So imagine that a child that finally takes the guts to call for help, and then they are met either at a telephone queue of maybe 2 hours, or a chat queue with 60 children in front of them, and then they give up. And that happened more than 130,000 times that year. So we agreed to go into this project and see how we could, solve parts of this problem. What we found out was that children can have a lot of different challenges or problems, everything from drug abuse to mental illness. It could be bullying, it could be eating disorder, suicidal thoughts, and the counselors could not handle all these kind of problems. One counselor was good at talking about gambling or violence or teasing, but did not know anything about social media or whatever kind of problem you could have. So what we did was that we trained an AI agent based on thousands of examples of conversations with children and counselors. But this is the chat window that the counselors normally use. This is, by the way, more than, I think, 65% of all the children use the chat. That is the preferred channel. And we have trained, and on the right side of this picture, we have trained an AI counselor, as we call it. And this AI will actually listen to the conversation, and in real time it will try to understand what is the conversation about. So what kind of problem are we talking about? In this case, it's eating disorder. And then when it identifies the problem, then it will start feeding, helpful information to the counselor in real time. It could be good follow-up questions. It could be, rights that we need to consider because the child would be able to get help, or whatever kind of right that they would have. It could also be facts, or just good information that could make the counselor better and more productive. Another project that we made after the first one here was what we call the registration assistant. This was actually, it went live 1 year ago, and now we have collected some data from that use case. Basically, after any conversation with a child, the counselor has like a post-processing step where they have to document, make a small summary of the conversation, but also click in this text here where what kind of topics that they were talking about. And as you probably know, modern AIs or LLMs, they're very good at creating summaries. They're very good at classifying what kind of problem we are dealing with. So this entire process was fully automated by AI, meaning that we were taking away 6 minutes from every conversation, adding up in more than 600 hours per year, meaning that we could actually free up time to conduct more than 10,000 additional conversations just with this one use case. And at the same time, we saw a huge improvement in data quality because the AI is much better at doing the summaries, and it's not in a hurry. It doesn't have to pick up the phone to talk to the next child. So it actually improves the quality tremendously. So I've now showed you a couple of use cases, right? Starting very simple, very unsexy, and now it's getting more and more advanced because I'm building up to the big fireworks here at the end. And this is the last use case that I have here. And this is what we call radical innovation. We have seen some incremental innovation examples, and then we also spending some of these $3.6 billion in what we call our R&D investment every year in radical innovation. And my team has also done examples of that over the years. It started in 2017, where we actually acquired a robot because we wanted to replicate human behavior in technology. At that point, AI was evolving. It was primarily IBM Watson that was in the forefront of AI and cognitive services. So we basically trained this robot here to be able to have a conversation with a human being. So it learned everything about our employee handbook. So you could ask any kind of question about being an employee, and it would answer what is the smoking policy, what's the dress code, where can I find the office, when does the canteen close in this city, and so on. And it became quite a success. I would say the barrier was very low at that point. You just have to do very small things, then you could impress people. So our robot here ended up in live television, doing live interviews in the national radio. And these are some of the famous singers and actors in Denmark who are taking selfies with our robot and posting on their social media. So we decided that we would take this research project to the next level. And what we figured out was that it was not good enough that technology could act as a human being, right? It also had to look and feel like a human being. And this is where we started looking into the area of digital human technology. There is something with the human smile. the human face, the human body, it can do tremendous things. It can communicate, non-verbal cues that really activates feelings. And this is something that we could not do with technology in the past. Everyone understand, a face. Everyone can recognize a smile like this, right? And this is actually what happens, is that when you look in, this is an avatar or a digital human, very, hyper realistic. It really looks like a real human being, right? But when you establish eye contact with a robot like this, then you actually activate, some feelings or some sensors in your brain and body that communicates or connects with your feelings. And this is basically the idea of this technology, that it should be able to connect with its users in an emotional way. These are the first examples of our version 1 digital humans. So as you can see, we start bringing them out to receptions, to stores, libraries, healthcare clinics, car dealers. And basically what they do is that they have a job function. They are trained to, handle a job just like a human being. Whether it would be standing in a reception, helping you check in at the hotel, calling the people or the person you're here to see and notify that person that someone is waiting in the reception area. So basically trying to cover a human job that is not interesting for human beings anymore. This is a small example of that use case.
Hi, I have a meeting with John Jorning Quistad.
Who from this list is it?
Yeah, it's option 2.
Bjørn Jorning Quistgaard. Great person. Bjørn has been notified and is coming to get you shortly. Your meeting starts in 14 minutes, and it takes place in meeting room number 2.
Cool, thank you.
I have a delivery here for. Hi.
Hi there. How can I help you?
I have a package here for Brian Hansen.
Alrighty, I've let Brian know you're here. Please wait a bit.
Okay. Wow, great.
Happy I could help. By the way, the weather report says it's going to be so hot today, so make sure to stay hydrated and get a cold drink in our waiting area before you head out again.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
And these digital humans, they could be at any place, at any time, and they can speak any language. And what we've done over the past year is that we started actually just rolling out this technology to the real world and the real users. So many places now in the world, you can actually get help from a digital human. And we see many use cases and challenges. This is from the World Cup in basketball in Manila. Pearl, who knows everything about basketball and can help you navigate the arenas and so on. Also making it all the way to Philippine television, being the first digital human in Philippine history, I think was the headline. This is the Tour de France mascot that we entered with. This is our Japanese CEO that recently retired. I met him in Toronto and put him into this photogrammetry studio, and then we created, like a digital clone of Kaz-san, that he's called. And now you can talk to Kaz-san at our headquarters in Tokyo, even though he retired. Also, we used the technology to win an SAP Innovation Award with our AI learning helper using digital teachers in a learning situation. And basically, we have established our name in the very forefront of what is called generative AI consulting, which we are, of course, very proud of. So these were the words. I just want to, tell you, please remember that we are actually right here, right now. This is now. This is like when, the car replaced the horse, and we have to understand how we have to build our new reality. We have to change our infrastructure, just like we did when the cars took over. We have to build new gasoline stations, AI gasoline stations, and new roads and everything. So this will be very exciting. Please remember to think about your landmines before you jump into the AI waters. Otherwise, you will have a big chance of failing. So with those words, I say thank you for listening up. And if you want to link up with me, then I am available here on LinkedIn. We did not have a chance to talk about, all the important things about, compliance and ethical principles and AI Act, GDPR, and so on. But I will leave that to Spider-Man from now, and then maybe in another session we can talk about that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Very comprehensive topic, and the learning curve is indeed quite fast, as we have been seeing in the few past years, and a lot of interesting topics and a lot of interesting examples. Thank you for those. And just a reminder for everybody, if you have a question or comment, we have still 1 minute, maybe one comment and question still time, but otherwise we will be sharing the recording with you and also the materials, and feel free to connect with Thomas and NTT Data if the subject is at your table at the moment, and I'm guessing many people will have. There's actually one question, maybe a philosophical question also in the chat. Is it for Thomas that what is your view on what humans will do in the future? I'm guessing. Thanks.
That's a very good question, right? Because it's kind of philosophic at the same time, because if you think about it, are human beings, are they actually meant to produce? Are we meant to actually wake up every morning and spend 8, 9, 10 hours producing things? Or are we more supposed to be consumers? And this is the change that we see now, that technology takes over a lot of the production, and we have to learn how to be good consumers. And I like that idea, even though it's also kind of scary. But there will be some big changes here, and we will have to oversee the technology instead of doing what the technology can do in the future. So very much focused on compliance, security, safety, ethical principles, and so on, making sure that our AI agents are doing what they're supposed to do. There will be thousands of AI agents in each company in a few years, and someone has to manage those agents. Otherwise, they will go crazy.
It's a good quote on the screen where we can end, because we are at the top of the hour. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you very much, everybody who was on the line with us today, and hoping to see you on our upcoming online and face-to-face events. And let's enjoy the coming springtime and enjoy the sun, everybody, and have a nice Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.